Welcome aboard. I'm Captain Jake, and we're back with another episode of DCS. This time, no campaign, just some general flying. This is not, and I repeat, not a tutorial on the Bf-109 K-4, as I just got this aircraft, and I have the controls mapped to what I think they need to be, and so I always, before I take it online or fly with my squadron, I always run all the training missions. So that's what we're going to do today. It may give some people some hints, and it may just show how horrible I am with a brand new aircraft, but that's part of it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump into the training here, and let's go find it. There it is. Okay, we got engine start procedure, and then we got taxi and takeoff, landing, ground attack, aerial gunnery. So we'll see how far we get today. We'll probably do, well, it depends, probably do the first three and save the next one for next time. So let's go ahead and start, and as always, what we always do is we wait for us to get to the cockpit. So we'll skip ahead to that. So as I always say, see you on the other side. All right, welcome to cockpit of the Bf-109. So let's see what it says here. Mission overview. It's 1/6, well, whatever the date is here. And we're not doing CAPT. This lesson will give instructions on how to start up the Bf-109 Kurfurst. You can abort this lesson at any moment by pressing escape key and quitting the mission. Well, that's fun. So let's look around the cockpit here real quick. Don't know what any of this stuff does. I know the mixtures, flight stick, dropping the bombs. We got a whole bunch of circuit breakers, or oxygen hose. Oh, radio over there. Oh, that looks familiar. I have flown the 190. So there's the oxygen down there. We gotta check to make sure our rudders work. Looks like a little map case and our throttle. So, okay, well, let's go.
Welcome to the Bf-109 K-4 startup lesson. Today we will practice the start procedure for the Kurfürst.
Right, press the space bar to continue.
The engine start sequence is typical for most World War II era warplanes. We will operate the electrical, mechanical and fuel systems of the plane to configure the aircraft for engine start.
Alright, well, I normally always use the...
Let's move to the circuit breaker panel on the right side of the cockpit. The circuit breaker panel is used to control various electrical functions. It consists of two rows of circuit breakers. Each circuit breaker has two buttons. The larger black button with a white dot switches the corresponding circuit on. The red button opens the circuit and switches it off. The leftmost row of buttons is used to control various internal systems. The right-hand row of buttons is used to control the radio system as well as the electrical fuel pump. Let's start by switching on the battery power by depressing the highlighted circuit breaker using the left-hand mouse button or left shift plus B on the keyboard. And now we will activate the F135 circuit. It is responsible for the FUG-16 radio station in order to contact ATC and request permission for startup. Left-click the highlighted button or press left shift plus...
The frequency selector for the FUG-16ZY radio has 4 positions indicated by symbols. All 4 positions are locked to specific frequencies which are set before flight. The pilot cannot manually set frequencies beyond the 4 presets. The 4 frequencies are used for communication with increasingly larger groups of aircraft. The 1 position is the management frequency. It is used for communication within the flight or squadron. The 2 position is the group order frequency. It is used for communication between several flights from different squadrons participating in a single raid. The triangle position is the air traffic control frequency. It is used to communicate with a designated air traffic controller. The square position is the Reichweite defense frequency, and it is used to coordinate countrywide air defense efforts and large-scale raids. Set the frequency selector to the triangle position, which is currently tuned to the Naki-Kulki ATC.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and... Alright, wrong way.
Adjust the FOG-16 volume by rotating the knob into the center position, the second dot. The homing switch can be set to one of two positions, FT-FT or YZF. This works in conjunction with the FOG-16ZY frequency selector and determines the radio's operational mode. Make sure that the homing switch is set to the FT-FT position.
Okay, it is FT-FT position, okay.
Request startup by pressing the / key. Select ATC by pressing F5, then select the Naki-Kulki ATC with F1 and request the startup with F3. If the radio is set correctly, you will hear the confirmation. After the startup is confirmed, close the communication menu by pressing the / key again. Switch on the V100 circuit. It's responsible for the MW50 system, the prop pitch automation, a landing gear indicator, compass, revi illumination and ignition.
Alright, and I forget to set all of my controls. Yeah. I didn't. Well, some of them appears to be set. Some of them appears not to be set. So, let's go ahead and see if we can try that again. All right. Mouse again. Or we can just use voice command.
Kulki, in field 1-1. Request startup.
Enfield 1-1. Kulki, cleared for startup. Wind 180 at 2 meters per second.
All right, we're good, so we can close that. To switch on the V100 circuit is responsible for the MW57 prop pitch automation, landing gear indicator, compass, rev illumination. Left click the highlighted button or press that. All right, so MW50 system. All right.
Good, now switch on the E101 circuit responsible for the fuel pumps. Now all circuits necessary for the startup are enabled. Set the water radiator lever to the open position to avoid potential overheating in case of a water radiator automation malfunction.
Okay, set the water radiator level to the open position. All right.
Let's move to the left side of the cockpit and operate the fuel system.
Okay.
The Bf-109 K-4 uses a single main 400-liter L-shaped fuel tank located partly under the cockpit floor and partly behind the rear cockpit bulkhead. Two fuel pumps are provided, P1 and P2. P1 draws fuel from the rear section of the tank, while P2 draws fuel from the front of the L-shaped tank. A fuel feed selector located below the throttle quadrant is used to switch between the fuel pumps. Enable both fuel pumps by setting the selector lever to the P1 plus P2 position. It's recommended to temporarily move the throttle lever full forward to ease access to the fuel feed selector. Remember to move the throttle all the way back after you select both fuel pumps.
Right, so we move this all the way up. There we go. Move it all the way back.
Good. Now let's proceed to the ignition selector switch. It controls the magnetos used to supply power to the engine ignition system and has 4 possible positions. Only the M1+2 position should be used to start the engine and at all other times during normal operation. Set the ignition selector switch to the M1+2 position.
Okay.
Let's close the canopy to prevent any damage by propeller airflow when the engine is started.
Okay, and right click on highlighted. Right.
Push the throttle lever slightly forward, away from the minimum position, close to the red SU label. We are now close to starting the engine, so it's okay to raise the starter handle cover. Pump the primer pump handle for approximately 8 to 9 full strokes. When finished, secure the handle in the down position.
1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Signal the ground
5,
crew to run the inertial starter. To do so, bring up the communications
7,
menu by pressing the / key. Select the ground crew with F8, issue the order to run the starter with F4, and wait for the confirmation that the starter is ready and running. It usually takes about 30 seconds.
Right. So, parent menu ground crew. Run the starter. Okay.
Run the starter.
Copy.
Use the left and right wheel brakes while you wait for the ground crew to run the starter in order to avoid moving during the startup.
Clear.
Checking to make sure I map those correctly. Turn right. Turn left.
Hold down the brakes while you pull and hold the starter handle. Hold the handle until the engine starts. Release the handle when the engine starts firing.
All right. So that would be a no-go on that. So, try this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. Now we tell them to run the starter again.
Run the starter.
Copy.
You can see why my compadres in the squadron sometimes have trouble getting it started. You following the instructions here. All right, so now we can pull.
Good start. Release the starter handle.
Good.
Close the starter handle cover.
Yep.
Turn the governor automation switch to the lower automatic position. The water methanol injection system can add additional power to the engine and helps to avoid detonation. Enable the MW system with the MW50 power button on the main dashboard.
All right, now it did map a control to that, so let's just check to make sure that works. All right.
Now set the water radiator lever to the auto position.
And
Continue to idle the engine at 800 to 1000 RPM using your throttle axis until you are ready to taxi or perform a pre-flight check. This concludes the engine start lesson. Well done. See you in the next lesson explaining taxi and takeoff procedures.
right now, let's just check the RPM here. 800 to 1,000 RPM. Oh, hold that. And let's go ahead and step outside here real quick. Hold my brakes again. Okay. Now, before we go any further, pull power back. See if I can do ground crew, armory fuel, and see how my Mr. Vonard's
Request rearming.
made my skin look here. Right. My snaggle. All right. Well, good. Dirt on there. He does such a fine job. That's perfect. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. To end the lesson. All right. Well, we'll end this lesson and move on to the next one. Taxiing and takeoff. All right. Let's go ahead and close that. Had the same problem yesterday for some reason. After the first lesson, I get a little bit of jitters. I'm not sure why. It's absolutely smooth, but in the second takeoff, not so good. So we'll take a look here at this one, and we'll see another side of that. All right. We are back, and we're getting ready to do the perform the taxi and takeoff. Follow the instructions. Okay, well, that's what we'll do.
Welcome to the Bf-109 K-4 taxi and takeoff lesson. Today we will practice the taxi and takeoff procedures of the Kurfurst.
All right. Oh, look, we got us some kind of gun there. I don't know what that shoots. I'm going to guess flares, 'cause I don't think it's capable of shooting somebody down. So,
The Messerschmitt Bf-109 is one of the most challenging World War II aircraft during takeoff and landing and not very comfortable to taxi. The Bf-109 has a narrow wheel track, making the aircraft unstable while on the ground. Its tail wheel is not connected with the rudder pedals, and thus braking is the only way to steer it while taxiing. The rudder of the Bf-109 is relatively ineffective at controlling the strong torque created by the powerful slipstream of the propeller during the early part of the takeoff roll, and this sideways drift creates disproportionate loads on the wheels opposite to the torque. In some cases, it's necessary to use the right wheel brake to reduce the effect. A normal takeoff is performed at takeoff power, which is about 1.35 to 1.4 ATA of manifold pressure and 2,300 to 2,450 engine RPM. Takeoffs can be performed using automatic or manual propeller pitch control. We will use automatic control during our training.
darn well, I'm going to be using it after that too, so.
Let's begin with requesting taxi permission. Press / to bring up the communications menu. Select Request Taxi to Runway by pressing F1 and wait for the confirmation.
Call key. In field 1-1. Request taxi to runway.
Enfield 1-1. Call key. Clear to taxi to runway 9.
All right, there we go.
Usually the water radiator automation works fine, but for safety reasons, let's set the water radiator lever to the open position to avoid coolant overheating during taxiing. Gently move the throttle handle forward until the aircraft starts moving. In order to avoid uncontrolled deceleration, retract the throttle to its idle position once the aircraft moves.
Okay, use the throttle axis to perform short inputs. Okay.
Good. Retract the throttle to its idle position. Maintain taxi speed by gently increasing the throttle for short periods of time if needed. Stop the aircraft using the wheel brakes. Now we'll need to perform a right turn. Unlock the tail wheel by pulling the tail wheel lock lever backwards.
Okay, tail wheel lock lever. Now let's see where that is hiding. Oh, there it is. Now, I did map a key control to that. So let's just take a look at that. Here, there's the tail wheel lock.
Now push and hold the right wheel brake. Gently move the throttle forward until the aircraft starts turning slowly, all while holding the right wheel brake.
Right.
Stop. Set the throttle back to idle and release the wheel brake. Lock the tail wheel by pushing the tail wheel lock lever forward.
Okay.
Stay below 25 km per hour while taxiing. If you are going too fast, move the throttle lever back to idle and gently use your wheel brakes in short bursts to reduce your speed. In order to steer right, use the right wheel brake, and to steer left, the left wheel brake. In order to stay on the taxiway, make sure that the yellow line to the left is parallel to the aircraft. At the end of the taxiway, you will need to stop right before the runway, so be ready.
All right, so far so good. Good enough, close. Right. Spacebar.
Move forward. Stop. Request takeoff permission from the ATC. Press \key to bring up the communications menu. Select Request Takeoff by pressing F1 and wait for the confirmation.
Call key. In field 1-1. Request takeoff.
Enfield 1-1. Cookie, you are cleared for takeoff when ready. Climb 300 at QFE 29.88.
All right.
Move forward.
Alrighty.
Enfield 1-1.
Stop.
Unable to clear for takeoff.
Alright, now it wanted me to stop for some reason.
Unlock the tail wheel by pulling the tail wheel lock lever backwards. Press and hold the left wheel brake. While holding the brake, gently move the throttle forward until the aircraft starts turning slowly. Stop turning.
Yep, I did.
Slowly move forward, steering with your left and right wheel brakes to align the aircraft on the runway. Good. Now come to a full stop or lock the tail wheel in order to make the aircraft. Set the water radiator lever to the auto position.
Water radiator to the auto position, okay.
In order to balance out the pitch moment during the takeoff, set the horizontal stabilizer to +1.5.
Okay, to balance out the pitch movement and take off, set the horizontal to 1+5, okay. Where might that be?
Good, we are ready for takeoff.
Well, there it is. All right. 1.5. Okay, there we go. Well, it's close enough. Okay. Press the space bar to proceed. Okay.
These are the main instruments that should be monitored during takeoff. However, remember the aviate, navigate, communicate rule, which means that pilots should fly the airplane first and only then navigate. Once the situation is under control, communicate. Check your instruments only when the situation is under control.
Okay.
This is the manifold pressure gauge. Gradually increase the throttle to the takeoff position. When the manifold pressure is about 1.2 ATA, you'll need to release the brakes and continue increasing the throttle up to 1.35 ATA.
Okay.
This is the airspeed indicator. When the speed exceeds about 100 km per hour, gently move the stick to the center and ease on the rudder movements. The takeoff speed is about 200 km per hour.
Okay, we can do that.
And this is the artificial horizon and turn and bank indicator. It's the main instrument that should be monitored during the takeoff roll. You will need to operate the rudder pedals to keep the slip ball in the center and the stick to keep the turn indicator, the vertical needle, and horizon bar in their central positions. Remember that your moves should be gentle but confident and sharp. Important, the moment the aircraft loses contact with the runway, be ready to balance it with a slight forward and right stick movement to prevent a left snap roll caused by the propeller torque. However, if the takeoff speed is high enough, this may not be required.
Okay, snap roll. Oh, sounds like fun.
Pull the stick all the way backwards and make sure its roll axis is centered. Push the right rudder pedal forward all the way and push and hold both wheel brakes. Holding all controls in their positions, gradually increase the throttle to 1.35 ATA. Release the brakes at around 1.1 to 1.2 ATA. And go.
And go. Okay, all the way back. Hold the brakes. Right rudder pedal all the way forward.
Stay calm. Gently unload the stick. Continue to use the rudder to reduce the side slip of the aircraft. Great, you are airborne. Press the red fluke button to retract the gear. Set the manifold pressure to the cruise setting of about 1.25 to 1.3 ATA using your throttle. Check the ATA indicator.
Okay. Definitely wants to roll a little bit, but we got that. Okay, cool. You'd be airborne.
Control your pitch with the stick to maintain 270 to 300 km per hour during the climb.
All right.
Nice. And the final task. Maintain today you've learned to taxi and take off the Bf-109 K-4. Great progress, pilot.
Well, there we go. All right. Well, we'll just see how she flies as long as we got her up for the first time. Alright, well, let's press that space bar and continue on to the next lesson, which is landing. There we go. Well, we took off. Didn't die, and that's always a good sign. Alright, landing practice. Go ahead and start. These are fairly short, so we may just do all 5 of them. Well, it builds it. Yeah, these are fairly short. What we may do, assuming I don't prang this on landing, we may do all 5. So let's go ahead and landing. Downwind left, final approach. Yeah, standard pattern. Maintain 220 for the approach, 180 at the threshold. Okay. Good. Automatic. Nope, not going to do that before I accomplish the following. Landing gear down below 350. Flaps below 250. Okay. Okay, perfect.
Welcome to the Bf-109 K-4 landing lesson. Today we will learn flying a visual approach pattern and landing in the Bf-109 K-4, followed by the engine shutdown procedure.
Right. Well, this was completely out of trim when it came out, so.
Stabilize the aircraft in a level flight and set the throttle to about 1.0 to 1.2 ATA to keep the speed around 400 to 450 kilometers per hour. Keep heading north. You can check your heading with a compass. Perform a slow right turn in order to head north. When your speed and heading are within these parameters, the instrument's highlights will be turned off.
All right. What do we have here? Keep remembering that these craft point towards the direction and the compass doesn't spin. What's the speed? No. All right. I'm headed north, and I've hit the space bar.
This time we will land using a visual approach pattern. The pattern consists of the following basic elements. Entry into the pattern on the upwind leg, where the aircraft is flown along the runway parallel to the runway heading. The crosswind leg, where the aircraft is turned by 180 degrees to the downwind leg using the turn to bleed off any excess speed. The downwind leg, where the aircraft is flown along the runway in the opposite direction of the runway heading and is prepared for landing. The base leg, where the aircraft is turned by another 180 degrees onto runway heading while descending into the final approach. The final approach, where the aircraft is flown down a steady glide path past the runway threshold to the touchdown point. You can check the image in the mission briefing showing an example of the overhead approach pattern. To open the briefing, press left Alt and B and proceed to the second and third page of the briefing.
Oh, we've done that?
Landing is one of the most difficult and dangerous tasks in the Bf-109 K-4. At low speed, the aircraft is very sensitive to power changes, and it's easy to get into trouble by mishandling the engine and aircraft controls, in particular at low altitude when there is little time to react. Once we enter the pattern, be careful to avoid large throttle movements and handle the controls carefully to maintain a controlled and stable flight.
Okay.
You should see our airfield at 1 o'clock. We will use a red smoke marker so it's easier to spot. Descend to 400 meters altitude and head towards the airfield. Do not let your speed exceed 500 kilometers per hour. Descend to 400 meters altitude and head towards the airfield. Do not let your speed exceed 500 kilometers per hour.
All right, there's the smoke, as we've already seen. There's the runway. And we're coming down to 400 meters.
Stop descending and maintain level flight. Make sure that you approach the airfield parallel to the runway.
Okay. Oh, there's the marker indicator just flashed. The inner marker. All right, I don't know what it wants me to do next. If not, we'll just do left downwind. Oh, this one's an okay view out the back, doesn't it? All right. There's 350. We'll go for a gear. Well, let's slow back down here.
Good. We are entering the upwind leg of the pattern. Now you can see green helper gates that mark the landing pattern. Enter the pattern with a speed at around 350 kilometers per hour.
That's when you add a little bit of power. Yeah, well, the gates are way over there. I don't know. Flies pretty wide.
Follow the pattern and keep your speed at around 350 kilometers per hour.
We'll do what they ask us to do here. Seems like I gotta fly out 4 miles to land this thing. All right, here we go through the gates. All right. See, I would never dirty up. I'd be dirtied up by now. My flaps and stuff hung out so I can get nice and stabilized. That's not what they want me to do here, so we're just gonna fly through all these gates, disappearing now. some missions in the past, you've had to make them disappear, so. Oh, let's pull power back here.
Speed up. Keep your speed at around 350 kilometers per hour.
Oh. Oh, you say whatever you want. Oh. Not going to go way back out. I'm on the long final here. And flaps are down now. 200. Threshold is at 180. I'm sure it's going to yell at me here any second, but right, it's telling me tail wheel is not. Thinking it's locked. Looking good. Not bork it at this point. Use a little power off. Maintain this all the way down. I'm not sure why I'm bouncing. Like I'm gonna turn in. Nope, not quite. All right, arrival parking. See if I can get my flaps up. Ah, well, that's gonna be a spin. Nope. Wait. Here we go. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to make sure the auto stop works. So far, looks good. Waiting for it to tell me that I'm complete. Yeah, it literally wanted me to follow all those around once it brought them up, and well, that wasn't going to happen. So, just look here. Let's see. I seem to be all intact, so that would be a good thing. All right, well. We will call that the end of it, and we will just end this. Then we will move on to the next one, which should be ground attack. So, right. We landed, we closed, ground attack. This lesson we will practice attacking ground targets. Bombs. All right. starts, and then we'll see you on the other side of that one. Okay, in this lesson we'll learn how to perform a ground attack using a dive bombing techniques. You can abort this mission at any time. Okay, follow any instructions. Okay, when we know what's going to happen is that they're going to bump us out here all over the place. So it looks like we're in the middle of something here. So, all right, let's go ahead.
Welcome to the Bf-109 K-4 ground attack lesson. Today you will learn to attack ground targets with the SC-250 bomb using a dive bombing technique. Stabilize the aircraft in level flight and set the throttle to about 1.1 ATA to keep the speed around 400 km per hour. The target is at 11 o'clock. The dive bombing process in this lesson will consist of 5 stages. At the first stage you'll be approaching the target at 2,400 meters altitude and 400 km per hour through green helper gates. At the second stage you'll need to maintain level flight, fuse the bomb using the bomb control panel, and idle the throttle to reduce the speed to 300 to 350 km per hour.
Okay.
At the third stage you will roll over into direction of the target and proceed through the helper gates. You will need to dive at an appropriate angle. At the fourth stage you will need to adjust your aim using your ailerons for heading corrections and the elevator to correct the range. Avoid the use of the rudder except to stop skids. Drop the bomb when the target starts disappearing under your nose. To drop the bomb, press right shift and spacebar. At the fifth and last stage you will need to pull the aircraft back to level flight. Pull out of the dive above 300 meters.
Okay. Right. Spacebar to proceed.
The bomb control panel is very simple to operate. It controls the amount of electrical charge sent from the battery to the bomb fuse. Depending on the position of the bomb fusing selector, the different fusing is ensured. In our lesson, we will use the Sturz MV setting. This is a dive bombing mode with a delayed fuse.
Okay, click left, click marking. Alright, now if I get down there, I'm out of focus. There we go.
Maintain an airspeed of 300 to 350 km per hour.
Alright. Well, my target. I don't know what my target is. Oh, it must be that runway. Right. No, get freaking gate. Oh, good. And we're doing. I wonder if it's the red one, or is it the buildings? Go back up. Ah, those trucks. That's what it is. Okay. Now that we got the dive bombing sets. Now that I know what we're aiming. Right, we'll shorten the pattern a little bit. We'll use what I use standard for my bombing.
We are approaching the target. Roll over into a left turn and proceed through the helper gates.
Yeah, well. Go over. Yeah, well, see, it says to maintain that.
Put the gun sight reticle slightly forward on the target, right on the red smoke marker. Use your ailerons to correct your aim. Release the bomb. Pull the aircraft back into a level flight.
Well, I did not.
Great job! You successfully performed a ground attack using a dive bombing technique. The target has been hit.
Yeah, a little short, but what the hell. Alright, end the lesson. There we go. All right, well, we hit something. All right. Close that. Aerial gunnery. All right, we'll go ahead and join that on the opposite side here. Okay, in this lesson, you'll learn the basics of aerial gunnery and practice to shoot enemy planes. You can abort this lesson at any time, etc. Okay.
Welcome to the Bf-109 aerial gunnery lesson. Today we will learn the basics of attacking airborne targets with the Kurfurst. The simulation has been set to active pause so we can discuss the theory before you begin to practice.
Okay. Good.
The armament of the K-4 consists of a 30mm Mk108 engine-mounted cannon with 65 rounds and two 13mm Mg131 in the nose with 300 rounds per gun. The cockpit equipment for the armament includes the Revi 16B gun sight as well as the SZ-KK-3 ammunition counter. Reflector sights, such as the Revi 16B, do not compute lead and simply provide a fixed aiming point relative to the aircraft's gun line. When using a reflex sight in combat, the pilot has to make manual adjustments to account for target lead, G-load, distance to target, and other parameters required for accuracy. When you look through the gun sight, the deflection circle will always be superimposed on the target. This circle is designed in the way that the distance measured by its diameter is equal to 1/10 of the range to the target. So, at 100 meters combat range, the diameter is 10 meters. At 200 meters combat range, the diameter is 20 meters, and so on. The P-51D Mustang has a wingspan of 11.3 meters. This means if the circle of the Revi 16B gun sight fits just around the Mustang's wingspan, the distance to the Mustang will be about 113 meters.
Okay, I'd compute all that in my head. Never.
The SZ-KK-3 shows the ammunition count for each of the two Mg131. The left-hand vertical bar in the SZ-KK shows the state of the left Mg131, and the right-hand indicator shows the state for the right Mg131. Please note that no cockpit indication is provided for the Mk108. The ammo counters are not directly linked to the ammo stores. Instead, they are reset to full when the guns are loaded on the ground, and then each mechanical indicator bar is lowered whenever a weapon is fired. The white markings mark the ammunition in the stores. The black markings signify the expended ammunition. The circular lock control indicators on top of each ammunition counter will flicker black and white whenever a weapon is fired. If the lock control indicator remains black when a trigger is pressed, a weapon malfunction has occurred. There is a weapon on-off switch to the left of the SZ-KK-3 indicators. Make sure it's turned on.
Alright, now what we're going to do is we will check to make sure that I have that set. Now, let's charges that button. Cannon and rockets. Do gun safety, yeah. And then master arm. Not. Map one to that. Starter. No, that's no. All right. So that is weapons. Weapon control on or off. They said the master arm. So let's go ahead and see if we can set one. Adjust control. SK. Control. Systems. See that stick. Charge Special for... Nope, don't. Front deck. All right, let's try that. Increase weapon control toggle. There we go. So that should be... Now let's see if that works. Yes, it does. Okay. So now we can press the space bar.
To destroy an enemy plane, you must approach sufficiently close to it to use your weapon with full effect. The closer you are, the more hits you can obtain. In this lesson, we recommend you to open fire at about 150 meters after approaching your target from behind. In such an ideal situation, when attacking from behind, the aiming point should be placed directly on the enemy plane. However, if an enemy performs evasive maneuvers, hitting a target can be difficult. When you open fire on the enemy plane, the bullets will need some time to reach it. During that time, the enemy plane will travel a certain distance. In order to hit the target, you have to aim in front of the target and along the direction of the target's flight path, predicting the point where your bullets will hit the target. The bigger the difference between your plane of movement and your enemy, the more you have to lead him. While many manuals provide a solid theory on how to calculate the leading angle and accurate aim, the only way to master aerial gunnery skills is to practice, practice, and practice.
True. And I can blast a whole ammunition tray and never hit anything but the ground. So.
And one more thing before we begin. Make sure that the weapon safety lock is unlocked. Check your stick. The MK108 fire button, the top button on the stick, should be visible. If it's not, press left shift and space to unlock the weapon safety mechanism.
All right, press the spacebar to proceed practicing art of area.
Approach and attack the enemy. You can practice until both enemy planes are down or you run out of ammo.
Good luck. All right, well.
Good hit.
Okay. You know that those guns work. Now what we'll do is we'll go over the top of this one and see. The cannon works. I realize these guys are flying straight and level, but you know, what the hell. Alright, no cannon. So let's double check.
He's down.
Alright, we're going to adjust the controls again. That's part of what I do during these training missions is double check to make sure that everything works. So my cannon switch didn't seem to do anything unless I didn't charge them. Active pause, you would have. Oh. Oh. Keyboard label gun sight stick. All right, fire cannons and rockets. That one. Double check. Yep, that's fine. Perfect. And this one should be charged. Okay, good. I got nothing.
You felt that one.
Well, don't have it loaded. Looks like his motor's dead. Doesn't seem to be smoking badly. I don't see a shoot though. He ain't gonna limp home on me. He seems to be put on a motor, but doesn't seem to be down. I don't see no shoot yet. Well, like I said, blast away for days. That's probably a high percentage shot anyway, but doink. Well, I would say I doinked him. Now, let's see. I can't see here. Can I see outside? Oh yeah. I'm gonna die. Many G's. Oh, look at that. Parts falling off everywhere. Boink. Well, like I say, we leave all the bad stuff on there, so what the hell. All right. I would say that is the end of that. So, before I do that, can I get inside another aircraft? Ah. He's still flying. Desert rat, huh? Well, I would say kind of beat up. Big ass holes in this airplane. All right. Nah, kind of cool. All right. Let's go ahead and escape and quit. All right. Let's close. And that's my training. That's all. Just want to make sure that that one thing works for me. So I do instant action, which I've never done. Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. Fighter maneuvers, offensive fighter maneuvers. We'll try this real quick. I just want to make sure that those cannons are going to work. All right. Oh, man. Pause.
An enemy aircraft is at your 12 o'clock. Maintain an offensive posture and gain the kill.
I want to pause. Pause. All right, so I'm going to do active pause. Pause. Active pause. All right, he's got that. Now, I can't see what I got here. Oh. I want to. All right, well, that's good to know. All right, what was just that? Active pause. Now, let's see if we can find that guy again. There he is. See if I can do it without ramming him. Up. Where the hell did he go? There he is, bastard. Wait a minute, is he going down? Yeah, no. But he was on fire there for a second. Okay, out of cannon. Oh, shit! No, I didn't hit him that time. I think he's going in now. And there he goes. The trees? Oh, maybe not. There he goes. All right.
Splash one. The second enemy aircraft has entered the area. You try your luck in a neutral BFM situation or
Well,
exit the mission.
I'm out
All
of
enemy
the...
aircraft have been destroyed. You may exit the mission or return to base.
Yeah, I'm exiting the mission. All right, we'll just quit here. All right, well, that is it for this episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed the look of me crashing into Mustangs. But that is the training and a quick instant action mission on the Bf-109, my first flight in it. I was used to the much heavier 190 and the Dora. And yeah, this thing is, this is the fighter. The other ones are bomber interceptors or ground attack, no doubt about it. Anyway, I look forward to flying this one online with the squadron real soon. So until next time, I'm Captain Jake, wishing you fair winds and following seas. Until next time.